Find yourself a booth, order up a cold one. This is the Spring Bar.
Hey everybody, welcome to Spring Bar. Glad to have you here. I am Florida Mike today with my co-host Joe in the OC and Kitty in the OC.
Yeah, Orange Cat, Orange County. What are you gonna do?
A lot of orange. For
A
those
lot
of you
of,
that
a lot
aren't
of.
watching, Joe's holding a cat.
I'm holding a cat.
That was the extra introduction.
It's a cute
He's
cat.
doing a good job of staring in the camera though.
Well,
It's
I think
impressive.
it's hard to say what he's looking at though.
I'm making faces at
There. Yeah, you see he's
there.
looking away. Obviously, that's not it.
That's not it, I guess. Oh, Joe, what's new?
School's out. School's out.
Oh, finally.
I'm in summer break. I'm in summer break mode. It's been fantastic. I actually slept in. It's like the first time in years that I haven't woken up just automatically before 6 or shortly after my alarm, before my
What
alarm.
time did you wake up today?
8:30, 8:45.
Oh, that is late for you.
Magical.
Look at that.
Right. No clue. I didn't know how that works. So, so
Well, you slept in late. I didn't. I woke up at 1:30 this morning to use the restroom and I never went back to sleep.
yeah, I've done that. Welcome to getting old.
Yeah, it's lovely.
It's lovely.
Lovely. As I just enter my mid 40s, but a week ago,
Oh, but a week ago. Shut the fuck up.
it's only downhill from here.
It is
Yeah,
only down.
we're no longer in our 40s together, are we?
We are not.
It's
We
going
are
to be a
not.
little bit before we're in the same decade again.
Not since November.
Yeah, you old fart.
Uh-huh. Yep. Well, we all got issues.
So, what what exactly are we talking about today?
Well, we got a few things to discuss, I guess. There's
Is
some
is ultimately is this the Grail's episode? Is that what this is?
this would be a Grail Watch episode. Yeah, we
The
can talk
Grail
about
Watch
we can talk about
episode.
that.
And this was inspired by, and you talked about it last episode, that you had something real special coming in.
Dude, I did. That was last episode.
And it did come in
It did come in.
because you were worried that it wasn't going to.
I was. I was
But
worried.
you got to experience the eBay authentication process.
Uh-huh. I did.
Am I to assume that this is also your wrist check today?
Oh, naturally, sir.
Okay.
It would
So
be.
I will proceed real quick here.
You can go first.
I don't have anything new. Well, I sort of have something new. So I'm wearing my Zodiac key lime, as we've dubbed it, on a new um, green minty, I guess, if you will, Stingray strap. Yeah.
It's a good that one works. You know that I am not a diver on leather kind of guy, and it's a question of you call that a dive watch though, you know?
Well,
Quartz.
it's a chronograph. It has a bezel on it. I mean, it's 100 meters. Not really divey, kind of divey. It's just cool.
It is cool. No, I'm not. I will not disagree with you on any of that. And
As you know, I went through different iterations of bracelets and straps, and it just didn't work out. And I don't know why I didn't think of this first. Because I have Stingray on my surfboard, and I think if any leather is to be allowed on a dive watch, it should be Stingray. It comes from the sea.
Comes from the sea.
Yeah. And I suppose if we're going to be, if we're going to embrace equality, shark should also be allowed on a dive watch.
I'm actually going to be telling me that seal would be just fine.
Why would you hurt the seals, Joe? What's wrong with you?
I'm just asking. I'm just asking if we're going off of your logic. And some kind of steel
so
leather.
yeah, so that's what I've got on. That's what's new. I did purchase something last night
Oh, did
that
you?
you and I sort of argued about.
Oh, that's right. That's
So
right. You did.
yeah,
We'll talk about that. We'll get into that. We'll
okay,
get
we will.
we'll get
Because
into
I got a second opinion on it.
it.
So
From
we'll
who?
talk about that one. You know who, mystery collector.
Oh, seriously? Are you gonna
It's
see?
it.
Called
I'm
it.
not selling. I'm
I
not
called
selling it
it.
to him. He's not buying it. He's not buying it. But I got his opinion on it, and I'll let you know what he said.
All right.
So,
What's in a
Joseph.
glass?
Oh yeah. So I just poured it. I don't know if you heard me opening and pouring it. This is the Victory. This is the Juicy Monkey Hazy Imperial IPA.
What is a juicy monkey?
9.5, 9.5%. I don't know if you can see. Do you see that right there?
I can see it.
This is a strong one.
What's a juicy monkey?
This says, I'll read you the label. It says, loaded with notes of fruit juice and ripe for the picking. Juicy Monkey is packing a punch as he joins the crew. Up front, pineapple and orange aroma meet Sabro, Lotus, and Sultana hops. Drop a hazy Imperial IPA that will have you on monkey time in no time. It's
Lotus?
just a,
What?
That's what it says.
What the,
Three different types of hops packed with the juice.
the ju-
It's very good. I would suggest you try it, but I know you won't.
I- the IPA thing?
So that's the thing. I'm not a huge IPA drinker. Generally, IPAs for me are too high on the bitterness scale. I'm at about a 30 IBU or less to be able to enjoy a beer. This falls, I forget exactly what the number is. It's right there at the top of the range, but it's flavorful enough that it kind of overpowers the bitterness for me. So it's actually really good.
I'm an IPA. I like IPAs to an extent. I like original IPAs. I like Bass Ale, which is the first
Mm,
IPA.
yeah.
That's kind of it. And everything's after that, just like some of the British ones and the OG IPAs, I'm okay with lots of those. But the new stuff and like the super hoppy stuff, I'm like,
Well, that's yeah. See, IPA is it overdone these days? Like
oh yeah,
every microbrew has got an IPA and they do it all differently, and there is no real standard for what an IPA should be because they're just all over the board. They're all
yeah,
over the board, you know? So it's hard to say that I enjoy an IPA because I enjoy a very small segment of it.
yeah.
I like wheats, I like ambers, I like honeys, I like sours, I like the fruity, flavorful type of stuff. Generally a lot on the lighter side.
No, see, I don't even go there.
Mm.
I'm like a straight Pilsner kind of guy.
Yeah, yeah.
I want crisp and refreshing. Like Miller High Life. Miller High Life is my jam.
Is it now?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I got a
Okay.
tattoo. Miller High Life.
Do you really?
I do actually. I do.
I haven't even seen it.
Well, it's because I don't take my shirt off around you.
Oh, I thought it was on your lower back.
No, no, that
Oh.
one says exit only.
You know what? Knowing you, you probably have one that says that. Oh, okay. Before this gets any weirder, tell me first what you're drinking because I feel like we'll gloss over that once we start talking about what you're wearing.
Well, you got me working early today, so it's a Bloody Mary.
Oh man, I'm actually kind of jealous. That sounds pretty good right about now.
It's
Is
tasty.
that a limpy piece of bacon you got there?
No, sir, it is a crisp piece of bacon that I have draped over because
Oh,
it was
okay.
still warm when I put it in.
Okay.
It has now become crisp and its own bit of wonderfulness.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's an earlier day for us. I was at the Offspring concert last night. They played Anaheim on
Oh,
their.
is that what date night was?
That's what date night was. That's what day. But
I
we
saw
went
I saw
took
that. Yeah.
took my son, took the neighbors and it was their youngest or their oldest daughter. I think she's in second grade, maybe third grade, second grade. It's her
Mhm.
first concert, and it was a doozy. It was really really good. Like so, it's a Offspring, punk, neo punk, depending on how you want to define it. But they went through the whole first album, or it was not the first album. It was Smash. There's the 30th anniversary of the Smash album release in 1994.
Hmm.
So they went through that whole album top to bottom.
Wow,
And it took about
that's pretty
40
cool.
minutes. They just ripped through. It was awesome, absolutely awesome.
Huh.
And then they did sort of greatest hits stuff towards the end. It was a good show. It was a really good show.
So you kind of have a loose connection to the Offspring.
I do.
Care to
I do. They
care to
all
share what that
they
is?
went to the high school I work at. And
Yeah.
so there's teachers there that had a lot of those guys in classes and all that kind of stuff. So they're within the community. They're all their kids graduated from there. It's kind of the thing. It was good. It was good. So that and a Bloody Mary is necessary for functionality.
It makes a whole lot more sense now.
Mm.
All right, so let's get to it. What
Here's the
do
issue.
you got? What do you
Here's the
got
issue.
that's new? Okay,
I don't know what to call the damn thing. All right. So this is the Bulova
call it the
Heuer.
Bulova Octavia. That's what I've been
Yeah.
calling it.
It's there's a different designation because the case has its own designation. So 7605 or something like that.
So it's the Bulova 7605. The case is stamped 1163,
Yeah.
but it's a Heuer Octavia like 15603 or whatever the
Yeah,
number
the
is.
numbers get weird. And so, it's
Yeah.
got the Heuer stamp on the inside of the case back is scratched out. Bulova is replaced there. I
Mhm.
believe it's got Bulova on the movement or at least on the bridges for it,
Mhm.
but I think it's a Lamagna movement specifically. It's not actually a Heuer movement, but it was a Heuer branded Lamagna.
No, it's a micro rotor. Why can't I think of who did the micro rotors?
Burin.
Burren. It's a Burren movement, I believe. It's a Burren Hamilton. Didn't they co-develop it?
I don't know. I'm not. Again, it's like everything is kind of weird and sketchy on the whole situation. So
Yeah.
it seems to be that the story is there were a bunch of extra cases laying around. A dial blanks, I assume, because the dials that you find on the Heuer versions are much more funky, much more mid 70s, and this one is very very functional. It's black and white. The loom has turned a really nice creamy loom. It's a silver date wheel, white hands. It's really functional in terms of how the sucker works, and everything about it is just perfect.
So
Wonderful.
this has been, for as long as I've known you, has been your Grail watch, and I've heard you talk about this time and time again. And you've loosely been on the hunt for one,
Well,
but they've always been they always occupied that $4,000 to $5,000 range.
yeah, like when I started looking at them, they were probably in the $3,000 range, and that was above and beyond what I was able. Like at that time when I was first looking at them, like $300 was a lot for a watch. I've graduated. I've moved on from that. However, those
Clearly.
well, I have $300 isn't that much for a watch anymore, but
Yeah.
the watches that I'm looking for are now well outside of that range, and the prices on these have been creeping up as well. So it becomes an interesting question of this idea of a Grail watch, and we've talked about it before. And so there's a couple different ways that you can go about looking at it. Is the Grail watch the watch that you get that ends your collecting career because you have obtained the unobtainable? Is it something that is unobtainable, or is it just something that you really, really want and you haven't been able to get? You've been on the hunt for, so it's sort of that weird balance of what you consider, how you define it, I guess. So
Well, I think, and I would agree, and I think you would agree that it's the latter. It's something that you've wanted that you haven't been able to obtain, that you've finally been able to obtain. But I don't see this ending your collecting journey.
I don't think so.
And if I were to get mine, I don't see it ending my collecting journey either. It's that one piece that I've strived for so long that I have finally been able to get, which I haven't been able to get. But that wouldn't be the end of it for me.
Yeah, I
That's
think
not my be all end all.
so. I was thinking about that a little bit, and it's a good way to put it. I was thinking about KC's collection, and he has watches that he wants to fill a certain number of slots, but within that, he's got a really deep set of like, he's got the Tudor sub, he's got the gold Rolex, he's got a Cartier, and they're not, the thing is, like, they're not unobtainable, they're not even that rare, to be absolutely honest, but it does represent something, and it comes down to this sort of question that once you have the money, what's unobtainable?
Well,
Not much.
obtainability is relative.
Yeah.
What and the amount that you spent on obtaining your Grail, it could be pocket change for
Oh,
somebody
absolutely.
else,
Absolutely.
and it could be a degree that other collectors will never be able to get to. So I mean,
Right.
it's all relative.
No, it is all relative, but I think it's the idea of unobtainable is, it's a misnomer, because it depends on what you want, depends on what your access is. Because I think that there's certain people that, regardless of what that may be, whatever that unobtainable watch may be, at a certain point, you could just have it made, and
Mhm.
then you're done. But I think part of it is, as we talk about it as collectors, is this idea of the hunt, and you're looking for, and suddenly, and all the things, and how that all kind of happens. So
So I have questions for you along
okay.
the lines of that.
Okay.
Having achieved your Grail goal, are you and along the lines of the thrill of the hunt, now that you have it, are you satisfied? Are you overjoyed? Are you disappointed? What are your feelings now that
Okay.
you've achieved the Grail?
So
Because this is going to be an interesting take, because again, this is going to be something that a lot of people haven't done yet.
yeah. Well, I think I mean, my first reaction when I got it, and I immediately sent you a message on Instagram, which was basically fuck, 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 fuck. And then, the soul listing, then all the things that go with that. My first thought was, oh God, what if I don't like it? Like, what if it's not going to be as good? What if it isn't going to work the way that I wanted? What if it doesn't,
That
don't,
instant buyer's remorse.
yeah, it's like, don't meet your heroes kind of things. Like, oh crap, what have I done? Um, but moving past that, and going back and looking at some of the pictures and looking at the rest of it, it's like, okay, I think I'm in good shape for what the watch is supposed to be. It's listed as, and it's been given this kind of Provence and the things that go along with that. But the part of the story that's a little funny, the seller really had no idea what it was. Seller was moving it on for a friend. Friend had
Mhm.
no idea what it was. And it was after they listed it that they realized, like, oh, huh, special. And honestly, it is, because I think this is like the last end run of those cases. I don't know how many of them there are. They're not a lot. It's not a real common watch. You don't see them that often. I've
Yeah.
never seen one in person. And like most of the people that I've shown it to, they've never seen one either. So that makes it a real interesting piece. The authentication process went incredibly quick. I think that from the time that I bought it till when I got it was maybe 5 days.
Yeah.
And so it
we
was,
were curious, and it what you messaged me as, oh, it's on its way.
yeah.
It's already on its way.
So it was transit to the authentication center, which I believe was in Ohio, and then 2 day air to me, and signatures and all the rest of it. And so it comes in. eBay does a really good job with their packaging. So it comes in a box that's sealed, and the box has a pull strip on it. So you pull that, and then it opens up. And within that, this watch came with an original box. Well, original box came with a bull of a signed box that I question the authenticity of, because I believe it's a box from the 80s, and it's a green bull of a cardboard, whereas most of the 70s was in some kind of plastic clamshell.
Like this
Right.
here.
So that becomes an interesting part of the question. But it's a bull of a box, and it fit for the watch. And then so they put that box was separate, and then they had it in their blue eBay authentication box. And so you take a look at what the authentication does, because like they authenticated that that Accutron, that red dial Accutron diver that I got. And I still question that authentication. And so really what I think they're doing is they're looking at the listing and comparing that to the watch and making sure that those things match up. And then I believe that there's a certain level of authenticating parts, and whether or not everything works right, if the movement is signed correctly, and that's that type thing. It's like, okay, that works. And then it showed up, and so the bracelet, part of the selling point on this watch is that this is the original bracelet, and it's got these inserts through the center link that are black. It's a Duchess bracelet, and
those are core fam.
I believe so, yeah. And they're hard to find. They're hard to find when it's intact. So that was a big selling point. But there's also, it's not, so it's okay, cool. It's coming on an original bracelet that I will never be able to find a link for, ever. But luckily, it's a big enough bracelet, and so I've got it on, the third from the smallest micro adjust on the clasp. And so
you still got some room.
Yeah, I do. I've got room. I've got room both ways too. So it's kind of nice that this, it fits, and it fits really well. I mean, it's big. It's like 42, and then it's also got the left-hand drive, because that's the way the Caliber 15 was. So it was a question of what's going to happen when you get it. And when I got it, it's like, yeah, it's really nice. It's really nice. It might be too nice. I might not wear it as much as I would. It's pretty damn nice. So I got it, and I was dropping all these hints that I was going to reveal it on Friday, but I went to a watch meetup on Thursday, and I brought it with me. And so like most of the guys at the meetup were like, "Oh, is that it?" And so I'm showing it to people, and these are watch geeks, and they're watch geeks at, it's a stratified watch geekery, because there's a guy who was there who was showing off his work, which it was like a 24 karat case, and the way that the movement worked and all the things that are going on with that. Somebody else was bringing us like, oh, well, this is my first Daytona. It's Zenith Daytona. That's what got me into watch collecting. I'm like, okay, we're in different places. But the people that were taking a look at it, they were looking at it like, oh my God, that's incredible. And it's less for what the watch is, even though that's impressive, right? Caliber 15, Heuer case, blah 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 blah. A modernized or a later version of the Octavia, all of those things. Which immediately, when you're looking at a collector's space, like that's okay. That's a pretty cool watch. This one happens to say Boulevard on the dial. That makes it kind of unique and a little bit more interesting. But everybody was much more impressed by the facts. Like, okay, you have achieved this. This is the one that you like. This is like, yeah, it is. And it was less a recognition of the watch and more of a recognition of the journey. And that everybody was really happy and was able to celebrate that. And I thought that was a really interesting take, because when you go to some of these meetups, those of you who've been to meetups, depending upon how the group is set up and what the makeup of the group really is. There's some places where everybody's just kind of, flex chasing. It's like, oh, well, let me show you this. Oh, well, let me show you this. It's like, oh yeah, that's nice. I'm thinking about getting one of those for my girlfriend. That kind of one-upsmanship. But the OC Chrono group is very generous and very accepting and genuine enthusiasts. Like, we're all really interested in what everybody else has got. Like, what did you bring? What is new? And it doesn't really matter what price point it falls at. It's like, let's look at this object as what it is. How does it fit into your collecting journey? How does it fit in with the other watches that you have? What are you doing with straps and whatever else? What's the story behind it? And to me, that's just phenomenal. That's always fantastic, because those stories are great. And you've got collectors across the whole spectrum. There was a Tiffany dial Patek 5711 at a couple meetups ago that the owner was tugging his shirt sleeve down over. I'm like, huh, interesting. And then there's a guy who's showing off his brand new Seiko mod, and swatches abound. It's it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really, really fun. So,
And it's been almost a year since I've been out there now, and I still talk about going to that meet, because they really are. I mean, that is the group of people that defines what watch collecting is all about.
Yeah, it is. And it's part of the thing too, that the membership of that group and the welcoming nature of all of the members of that group. There's some guys there that like to flex, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. And you want to show off what's a heavy hitter, and you want to show, okay, I'm achieving all of these things. But it's way more fun to talk to somebody else who's, I've just started collecting. Oh, I saw that watch and I got inspired by this watch. I thought, and you start to watch some collections start to move. And so you have some very experienced collectors within that group. And there's a couple of Omega guys that are deep, like the minute repeaters and stuff, first call kind of thing. And then there's other guys that have been waiting on their acquisition and their allocation, and then they've got horror stories with it too. So there, it's really kind of interesting to see this. It's every single bit of strata within the collecting world, and there's people that are on first name basis with their AD, and they get extra special treatment, and then there's other people that can't get in the door at the AD, and so you can see that sometimes there's this maneuvering that goes on. It's like, well, who's your person at IWC? Okay, well, could I go with you? Could you introduce me? And that kind of thing. And like, okay, how long do I need to schmooze in order to get an allocation? And da 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 da. So it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny sometimes.
What KC had to do to get his
right. But I think that the issue is, though, and this is not a slam on KC, but the difference between, I think, the ADs that are in and around where he is versus the ones that are out here, there's a huge difference in terms of visibility, maybe, for lack of a better term, that the people are looking for things out here, and there's a lot more of them because it's a much more visible kind of space. So I think that changes a little bit the way that the allocations go. I think there's just a lot more people that want those types of watches, particularly Rolex. They've had for display only forever at the Rolex ADs that I go to, that I've been in. Then so it's immediately like, okay, well, screw it, just go look at vintage, because at least you can buy that. At least that's there, it's tangible. Versus the hands don't move and you can't set it and whatever. So,
but overall, you're happy with it.
Very much so. Very much so. Yeah. I was wearing it yesterday morning and decided, nope, can't wear it for the rest of the day because I got some other stuff I got to do. So changing watches in and out. Didn't wear it to the concert because I didn't know what was going to happen at the concert. So
are you a little more conscious now of doors and walls and what you're doing and where you're wearing it to, and
I'm conscious of what I'm wearing it to. And
because generally you will wear your stuff
yeah,
without hesitation.
yeah, I'm that guy. I'm that guy.
So
I'm
it's kind of funny to hear you talk this way
right.
about a
It,
watch
it
because
is.
it kind of opens up a different world for you in being careful and cautious now.
Well, I don't know that it's necessarily that I'm more careful and conscious. I'm just definitely more aware. But in terms of what the watch actually is, I mean, it's a chunk of steel, man. It's huge. It's
Oh
it's
yeah.
I mean, it's immense. It's tall. It's you've got this. I'm not certain what it is from bottom to top, but we're probably looking at like 15, maybe
I don't
more.
know if it's that much. I don't know if it's maybe
It's
13.
yeah, but it's up there. It's a tall watch. It sits pretty proud, and you've got
Yeah.
that sort of that boxed crystal that goes with it. So you've got a bunch of different things, but I'm like I'm not worried. I'd be a little more worried about the door than I am about the watch. Except I don't want to damage the movement, so I don't want to give it too sharp of a bang.
So
Don't,
so that's the other thing. It was listed with did was it listed with a mainspring issue?
yeah, so the watch loses time when you aren't wearing it, but when you wear it, it's fine.
Well, I mean, every watch does
Well,
when it winds down.
I, I don't know. I'm not so if I don't wear it a little bit, it runs a little bit slow. But when I wear it, I haven't, I set it and I haven't had a problem. We're right on with the clock. So
So it's been running good though.
yeah, it's been great. It's been great. And it's a fantastic thing. And so that's sort of that. The question is, okay, do you meet your heroes or not? Like when you get the opportunity to get a Grail, do you, or do you pass it by? Do you let it go? And that's kind of the question.
And it's funny because that watch is your Grail watch. That is the watch of all watches for you. And I have one sitting right here over my shoulder. It's the
Right.
exact same thing. It's not on the bracelet.
Right.
And even on a strap,
It's
this
good.
carries some weight.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine what it's like on the bracelet.
It's chunky, but
But
it's a really good watch, right? We were
it's a
talking
really
about
good watch. But here's the thing.
it.
I have this here
No,
and I have the ability to wear it whenever I
no,
want to put it on. And I don't because it doesn't resonate with me the
right,
same that it does for you.
right.
And it does not mean that it's a bad watch by
Oh
any
no,
stretch. It's a great piece of history. It's a great, I wouldn't even call it a collaboration because it's really not. But
yeah,
the story behind how it came to be is cool, and the parts acquisition is cool, and how it retains all the Heuer markings and that is cool, and everything about it is neat, but it just hits differently with me
right,
than it does you.
right. Well, that's kind
And
of the point, though, because there's okay. So let's talk about your Grail.
I would absolutely love to have the Bull of a Royal Oak. That is my grail. And we've discussed it time and time again, and you know this.
Yes,
It's just I know the quote unquote real story behind the watch, but I love the myths and the maybes and the could have beens behind the watch, because Gerald Genta worked for Bulova.
for a brief part because he did work for hire.
And as one of the more popular myths goes, it was a design that he came up with, presented to Bulova. They turned him down. And then when he finished his tenure there, he decided to do his own thing. And then Bulova was like, oh, well, this caught on. And then now we're going to produce it based on his original design and all that kind of stuff. So I like the story that he designed it while he was working for them, and it was meant for Bulova originally, and that's how it should have been. Even though I know that's not the real story because the timelines
Right.
don't match up and all
Right.
that kind of stuff. But it's still cool to think. And it's just it's that is the one integrated bracelet watch that I would just absolutely love to have in my collection. Now, again, it wouldn't be the be all end all, and it wouldn't stop me from, buying my collection and rotating my collection like I do. It's just that's the one that's just out of reach. And those two have for a very long time occupied the $4,000 to $5,000 space.
Right.
In probably the last 6 to 8 months, I would
Yeah.
say the prices have started to fall a little bit.
Yeah.
There are a couple right now that are very reasonably priced.
There's still, but there's
Unfortunately,
still, yeah, they're still like 1,200 though, 1,000, 1,200. They're not, they haven't gone into 3 digits yet.
oh no, and I don't think they ever will.
Yeah.
And the one that I really like is stainless. It has the white dial. It is the automatic because they made two versions, the automatic and the quartz. It's in very nice condition. I think it's listed for what, 16.99 right now. Um, Unfortunately, my personal situation is changing, and if it hadn't, I would have bought it in a heartbeat. And it's just, the stars have not aligned on this one, and I'm not able to do it right now. But one day, one
Someday.
day it'll happen. One day, someday, and it'll be that much sweeter when I do have it in hand on the wrist, and I am able to achieve that goal, and I'll be able to experience
Okay. But
what you're
now
going.
let's talk because, okay, yes, there is that watch, but then there's also all of the MB&F stuff that you love.
The MBNFs are kind of in that unobtainium. Like if I hit the lottery one day and I could go out and just spend money willy-nilly, I'd go buy one.
Well, I think that
But
the Mad One is definitely not there in terms of what those cost, but still, that's a big chunk of change.
the Mad One is quote unquote affordable relative to what the rest of MBNF is, right?
Right.
But while it's cool and while I would like to have one, like I would absolutely own a Mad One, it's not like what the orological machines are. It doesn't even come close to what those are. And what goes into making those and the technology behind them and just the art on the wrist that those are, the Mad One just doesn't do it. It's cool and I'd like to have one. And I know people who are on the list and are getting one, but it's not an orological machine. And that is something that will never happen. I, I don't have six-figure watch kind of money, but
Right.
the actual obtainable Grail, that is that Bull of Rolo.
Yeah.
So we'll see one day. Maybe one day when you get yours fixed, I can actually try it on
One day.
and see how I really do like it.
One day.
Yeah,
One day.
because you have one.
I've got one in pieces. Uh-huh.
You have one, and for those, and it's been forever.
Been
And if
forever.
if you don't know the story or you've forgotten the story, you got yours from where? Where did it come from? South America somewhere.
I don't even remember. It's been so long. I really don't remember where it came from.
It came from South America. I do remember that much.
Okay.
And whoever had it, well, at some point during its life, somebody cut out the lug area from
Right.
being an integrated bracelet to be able to accept a regular strap.
But it's not to be able to accept a 16 millimeter strap, and it was chewed out with a gopher. I don't know. It was ugly. It's an ugly chunk out of that. So the idea is to try to get it fixed, to try to get and get another bracelet to be able to throw back into it and just recreate the integration part of it. That process has been very slow. But
Has
I
there been
think
any progress?
no, there's been nothing. But I haven't done anything with it. So
Yeah.
I think I got to go up and talk to Magic Hands here and see if we can get that in motion. Because I've got two other watches I need to bring him to have some magic done. So he and I'll talk.
Yeah.
That'll be one of my summer projects.
Yeah. Get that done so I can try it out. I'd like to try that. Speaking
Like I
of
said,
summer
I got to worry about
projects,
the market. I got to worry about the market for that watch though, because I know what I paid, and I know what it's going to take to get it serviced, to get it fixed, to get the
yeah, but
casework
you
done.
also got to figure what it came like. That's like, a salvage title watch.
Oh, without question,
Yeah.
without question. This is a Ferrari that's been totaled, that is now
Yeah.
being rebuilt in a garage. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Could be great. Might not. Who knows?
I think it'll be cool once it's done. It'll be assembled with parts, not all original in that, but I think it should turn out fairly decent.
Well, it's mostly the movement is original. Everything about it is original except for the bracelet. And so like the question is like how if the bracelet will work and if we can get the bracelet to fit. And that's really it. And then there's a fallback plan from there. So we'll see. We'll see.
Time will
All
tell.
will be revealed. Time will tell.
Couple more years.
So this brings us to another topic that we want to talk about. So Mike has
What did we
purchased a
want to talk
watch.
about?
Mike has purchased a watch.
Oh, yeah.
We won't tell you what it is. That's not the issue. But he purchased it for what is ostensibly a good price. However, he's of the opinion he'll be able to flip it for more if he wants to flip. Okay, fine. The question about it is when you start talking about the watch market, and everybody has noticed that prices are softening from the highs that they were in 2020, 2021. The vintage market is shifting. The neo vintage market is shifting, and so Rolex prices have dropped precipitously. The only watch that seems to be doing a little bit of a surge is vintage Cartier, but beyond that, everything else is just kind of dropping down. So you had a conversation with our mystery collector about your impending arrival, and what is his?
Well, before that,
Okay,
I bought this watch. Are we not going to say what it is? Do you not want to reveal it?
you don't have it in hand yet. It's
I
not
don't know.
real.
Okay. It's
Not real.
by the Spring Bar rules. I guess we can't talk about it yet. This is a watch that notoriously sits between $1,000 and $1,500, and it has for a very long time, and they have sold in that price range.
Yeah. With the strap.
Even without. Even
I
without.
I may have to go do some due diligence on that, but okay.
I was scrolling eBay last night and I came across this. It had just been listed and I put it in my watch list. And generally, if you've been on eBay and you buy stuff off of eBay, when you put stuff on your watch list, within a day or two, you get the seller has sent you an offer kind of thing.
Yeah.
Within 15 minutes, I got the seller has sent you an offer. And it was maybe $15 off of what the asking price was. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. And it's even at that price, even at the price it was listed at, is the cheapest I've ever seen one go for. And I'm like, that would be pretty cool to just buy low and not sell for ridiculous amount of money, but sell for a profit. Because basically all I'm trying to do is take some of my watch fund and just grow it a little bit. So I'm like, okay, well, if I can get it for this price, I'll buy it. And I just made him a dumb offer, which was less than the offer that he sent me. So I did a send a counter offer at a lower price. And within minutes, it was accepted. So I believe that this was somebody that just doesn't know what it is. And every once in a while, that's like the barn find hot rod, right? Like somebody
Right.
just has it. They don't really know what it is or what it's worth, and they just want to get rid of it. I feel like that's the situation that I fell into. So I got it really, really low. Um, and I'm not going to ask $1,000 and up. I'm going to double what I paid for it and make a little bit of money off of it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that for the purpose of being able to grow my watch fund, to be able to buy something else or few something else's or whatever. Now, I told you the price that I was going to ask for it. And right away, you're like, nah, that's not going to happen. Never going to happen. I don't doubt the deal. I doubt the asking price. You're never going to get
Correct.
that.
Correct.
In typical Joe fashion.
Correct.
And you always disagree with
Yes.
the prices that I will ask and get when I sell stuff.
No, no. There's a price that you ask, and then there's a price that you accept, and they are not the same. It's
But
higher
they're
than what
very
you get.
rarely far off.
It's typically higher, and it's still amazing. I don't think you'd get that, but it is never what you expect, because you always settle. So let's just be honest.
It's the name of the game. That said,
Yes.
I talked to our mystery friend
Yes.
and I said, I did a thing. Here's what I bought.
I did it.
He says, oh, good for you. That's really cool. But and what the watch is, they're it falls in the weird category of you can call it rare, but they do pop up, right?
Yeah.
It's a
very
weird
niche.
gray area.
Yeah. Yeah.
People go crazy for them. I don't understand the appeal of it personally. I think it's a cool watch. It's colorful. I like that kind of stuff. It's from the 70s. It is not something that I have ever wanted to own, that I've never felt the need to own, but this just came up and it was one of those I just can't pass it up opportunities. So I sent it to him. He says, "Oh, good." I said, "This is what I paid." He's like, "Wow, that's actually really, really good." I said, I'm gonna flip it. And we've had conversations about flipping and is it right and is it wrong and all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to admit here, I bought this watch as an investment to make a profit on. Yes, good or bad, somebody's going to want it. The very least, I'll absolutely get my money out of it. So it's really a no risk investment for me.
Okay.
I said, I have a number in mind. Joe thinks I'm crazy. I believe I'm below market. Put a number on it. If this was yours and you were going to sell it, what would you ask for it? What do you think it's going to go for? He gave me a number higher than what I'm going to ask for it.
Yeah, but we know that's wrong. We know that's wrong because you have pieces of his that he wants you to move, and you are not getting the asking price on those also. So you know that's wrong. You know.
But could you argue the point that what I bought might appeal a little bit more than a chronograph?
I don't know. I don't know that that's the case. And
It's
think,
one of those weird,
well,
it's one of those weird, if you're, and I have a hard time saying this because I'm going to say if you're a real deep bull of a collector, it's one of those pieces you got to have in your collection. I say that having bought it, not to keep in my collection.
Right. And also when you get down to that, like that watch fits in the same space to me that my chronograph fits in for you. I understand what it is. I appreciate what it is. I appreciate the rarity of it. I appreciate all the things. I still think that if you don't have the strap, it doesn't make the watch. If you don't have the strap, the watch is interesting, but not special. The strap makes it special. But that's right. And that's me. That's me.
And I can disagree with that in the way that you have what's on your wrist on the original bracelet, and I have what's in the case that's not on it. And I feel like they're still one and the same. Yours is cool because it's all original and you have the bracelet. But even
Okay.
still, this one's pretty badass,
It
right?
is right. So, but coming back to the point though, I think
And for this particular watch, how many do you actually find on the original strap? Because those
none.
things degrade horribly.
Awful. Yeah, it's horrible to find it. And so that's what makes it special, and I think that's what makes the asking price so
And I
viable.
think a watch with that strap will get you the $1,000 plus price.
Without question, without question.
And
But
I don't know, and there has been so many without that have been in that price range and that have sold in that price range. But I understand that that's not what it is. And I'm not trying to be greedy in any sort of way. I'm just trying to earn a little bit of money.
I'm
And I
not.
feel like the number that I'm asking is not unreasonable.
It's not unreasonable. But I question that. But regardless, the point for me is I understand what that watch is. I understand where it fits. I understand all of the things around it. And I still think that if you're looking at it as a collector, if you're looking at it as a Bulba collector, okay, it's interesting. And it's kind of in the space, like if we want to put it into fashion terms, it is your fifth or sixth suit. You don't go out and buy a tan suit as your first suit. You buy a charcoal
I
gray or
wouldn't,
you buy a navy, right? And there's an
I
order.
wouldn't say is
Listen, no,
it.
listen. You don't understand sartorial stuff. I get it, but other people who are more with it with fashion will understand what I'm saying. It is
Okay.
not. I mean, look at you, for crying out loud. Come on. So
In fairness, I just got home from work, so I'm not
whatever,
trying to be fashionable right now.
whatever. So it is not a it's way down on the list of where that would be. I think that any chronograph would be higher up on the list for a collector because the chronograph, let me go. The chronograph is a
Oh.
more accepted complication, and the difficulty of that versus something like, does that sucker even have a date? I don't think it does. So it's just a straight hand wind movement, if that. Like it might be an automatic, but it's probably a hand wound.
No, it's an automatic.
Okay. And so that makes it a real simple automatic.
Let me pull
Does it have a
up a
date?
picture of it. It's a day date, yeah. I had to
Date?
think about that for a second. It's a day date, yeah.
Okay.
It's the the AOA CB,
Yeah.
I think.
Okay.
I believe that's the movement that's in it.
Yeah. Which so
But
that makes it one of the last in-house day dates. And I get
yeah.
it's a good movement. It's a good movement without question. But in
Now,
terms of a complication, it's not a real deep one. It's a very
well,
simple complication.
yes, and it is a very simple watch in its design. The dial and a collaboration, basically, right? Or no, am I
I
wrong?
don't think so. I
It's a
don't believe
weird
it's collaboration.
history behind the
Yeah.
watch. And it's not even of the US market, if I'm correct.
I don't know. I've never done that deep of a dive into them because they don't work for me.
A lot of the research that I have done on these points to a European market type of thing. I
Okay.
could be wrong, but
Okay. I'm not going to argue it. I think it is in the line book though, isn't it? I think it's in the line book.
is it?
I think so. I think that
I
makes
don't
it
think I've ever
messier.
seen one. Well, now I'm going to have to look it up. I don't think
Yeah,
I've
you
ever
got to
seen
you
one
got we got
either.
to go look. Go check it
Yeah,
out.
I'll have to look it up. Yeah, you'll see. But the- we'll talk about it next episode because I'll have it by then, and I'll probably have it before then. So everybody's going to probably see pictures and I'll list it and all that kind of stuff. Um, I think you might be surprised.
I typically am. We'll find out.
That's there's a relationship in a nutshell right there.
Yeah, it's about right. That's about right. All right.
Oh, let's talk real quick.
Yeah,
You met up with Watch Viking
I did. I
not
did.
that long ago. How'd that go?
He came out for a holiday with
Yeah.
his girlfriend they had a very nice hotel. They had a hotel that was right across the street from Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills.
Oh, how the other half live.
Oh, how the other half was, right. Well, yes, and no. I believe that there was a significant discount due to
Yeah.
employee access, et cetera, et cetera. But like, I go there to meet up with him, and we're trying to figure out parking, and I found street parking, so park on the street, and I've got and
Oh wait, so you drove all the way out there?
yeah, I drove up to see him. Yeah.
Oh, because you told me that was like a 2-hour drive
Well, so
with traffic.
he was here. Okay, here was the thing. He was going to come down. Like, I invited him to a meetup, and it was the day that they got in. It would have been on a Thursday. It would have been on a Thursday at like 6 o'clock, and so that's rush hour. That would have been a 2-hour drive, and it probably would have taken them longer because they don't understand traffic patterns in LA, and they wouldn't know where to go, and it would be a bigger deal, and they'd miss a freeway, and they wouldn't catch an exit or whatever. It's like, but for me, it's no big deal. I understand how the traffic patterns work, and so I met up with him it was the Sunday before Memorial Day. There was no traffic. It was like we were gonna go have dinner at like 7. So there was no problem for me to make the run up and make it happen and make it real quick. So I did, and it was like 40 minutes for me. And that's, I mean, LA traffic, that's nothing. That's absolutely nothing. So
that's not bad then. Yeah.
No, it wasn't bad at all. So I, did the run up, and it was a question like, okay, what are you bringing? What do you bring? And so, he's a Bulova aficionado. He's a Bulova enthusiast. So I was like, okay, what should I bring, and what would he appreciate? And you and I talked about it a little bit. So I brought up a watch box. So I brought up like, maybe 30 watches. And he was there with his girlfriend. So I brought up some of my ladies' pieces, because if I'm going to be spending time with her boyfriend and taking away from a little bit there, because like,
speaking of his girlfriend, as I understand it, she was a little upset.
She was a little upset. She doesn't understand
why.
Because she doesn't understand how she has to go halfway across the country to meet up, and gets to meet me, but you live in the same state and she has no idea who you are. so got to meet up with him, brought up a bunch, but I'm going in. So I have my watch box, and I've got it in a pillowcase. Black satin pillowcase, because this is a classy joint. But I've got it in a pillowcase, and I've got some towels laid over the top so I can keep everything
tied at the end of a stick over your shoulder.
Yeah, not exactly, but close. And and I'm walking in, and I'm trying to find the entrance to the hotel, and I'm at like a back entrance, because that's where the valet parking is, and there's a wedding reception going on across the valet, and we're talking a couple different Ferraris, Audis, few different Range Rovers, like the level of car that is coming in to drop people off for this wedding. And I'm sitting there in shorts and a polo shirt with a pillowcase full of Bulova watches. Like I am in the wrong place. That's what's going on here. I'm absolutely in the wrong place. But it was a really good time. It was a neat experience. Like, he got the chance to see stuff that is, I have a deep collection. I think we can admit that I've got stuff that you don't see a lot of.
And what was cool about that for him is he's seen my collection a few times now. And the last time he came over, my collection has changed from the first time, because it's been about a year since he come by. But you have a different collection than what I have. We're both in the same space, but very different collections. So it was neat for him to be able to see the other side of Bulova.
Yeah, I was filling in gaps, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
And so, because it was like you and I had a chance to discuss, and I asked him what he wanted to see, and I brought up stuff that I want to make sure I didn't duplicate anything, because there's stuff that you've got, and then I've got the other side of that. So I didn't bring up anything that he had really had access to before. And so that was kind of cool. And I was there till about 11 or so. My girlfriend fell asleep. And that was about it. But it brings up an interesting kind of point. It was great, great to actually meet the person behind the icon and all the rest of the stuff that goes with that. And it's also this weird thing that's like, okay, here's the watch collector community, that random guy from Florida that I've sent DMs to. Like, sure, yeah, I'll drive 45 minutes with 30 watches, go hang out in your hotel room.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's a normal thing. So it was no problem.
But in fairness, though, you know that him and I have hung out
Yeah.
before, and we've had a lot of interaction with him, and
Yeah.
we know him on a personal level and have
Yeah.
had dealings with him. So it's not as weird as it sounds.
No, it's not. But on the face of it, on paper,
but still,
it's pretty fucking weird. But so they had gone to, there was a Kith store, and it was the Kith Adidas collaboration stuff. And they got some shoes and they got some other stuff, and it's a nice collab. It's a nice set of shoes. I would wear them. But it brings up, let's talk about the Kith Tag Heuer Formula One.
Can I just start this conversation off with, every time I hear it or I see it, makes me think of Mike Tyson. Hey guys, can I give you a Kith? Can I give you a Kith on the teak?
Now, Kith.
Give me a Kith.
Just
Give me a Kith.
Say that to his face.
That is the number one reason why this ruins it for me.
Just Mike Tyson.
I can never wear it without thinking about Mike Tyson if I had one on my wrist.
Well, so this
number
is
two. Here's the other thing. I am a big proponent for the Quartz Formula One.
Okay.
I like the origin of it. I like what it did for the company. I had a fourth generation Quartz Formula One for a very long time. It was one of my very early, quote unquote, luxury watches in the beginning of my collecting. Oddly enough, I sold that watch to fund my first vintage Bulova purchase.
Really?
And it all went downhill from there. Yep.
Yeah. Look at you now.
And look at me now. I, like so many other people, had wanted to see them go back to the roots and do a reissue of the original Formula One, the plastic case, the smaller size, the vibrant colors, really what sparked the Formula One frenzy. I do not understand why they did it in the way that they did it. And I really, under the current management, the stuff that's going on, I really disagree with. I don't like the direction that they're headed with these kinds of things. And now they just teased what we can assume as a new Aqua Racer or a spin-off of the Aqua Racer. And I'm kind of afraid to see what that's going to be.
Okay, I have a different take. I think that this is a result of the Moon Swatch, 100%. And I think that if you throw that watch at your Kith consumer, it's a $1,500 watch, right? That's retail on it, pretty much across the board.
But here, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Before this watch came out, who knew what the hell Kith even was?
Well, who cares?
Well, it's a big thing because they're making a big deal about this co-branding.
No, it's not a big deal. And let me tell you why. It's not a big deal because you and I are not the market. We are not the target of this watch.
See, I disagree with that because I feel like I am the target.
You are not.
I am the previous Formula One owner. I am the one that appreciates the history. I am the target. I am the person that they want to sell this watch to, and they totally lost me for it.
No, they are not. They don't want you to buy this watch at all. They want you to buy a vintage one, which you can get for less. By the way,
well, yes, you can.
This watch is supposed to be. They're trying to position it. This is my take. They're trying to position it as an entry level Heuer for a whole new generation of consumer. It's quartz, so you don't have to worry about upkeep. Not in the same way. It's got the vibrant colors. It's got a relatively robust watch because it's PVD over steel rather than the plastic. If they would have gone with plastic, it would have changed everything, but then it's going to be a lot harder to sell it for $1,500 because it's a plastic watch. That puts you immediately into moon swatch, and you can't say bioceramic because Swatch Group trademark impingement.
But they are Swatch Group, so they could say bioceramic.
Yeah, but they aren't going to. So you've got all of these things that you're looking at this. Look at this not as a collaboration, but as a entry level watch to try to push.
Oh, not at all.
I think that it has done remarkably well, because looking at the website, there are only 3 versions that are still available. Everything else is sold out because it was limited run.
I disagree with this being an entry level. While it may be the cheapest Tag Heuer that they currently offer, I will not say that this is aimed towards getting people to get involved with the brand. This is a watch that Heuer collectors have been asking for years. This is aimed towards the people who are part of the brand, who appreciate the brand, who know what it is, who know the history of it. That's what this is aimed for. This is not like a moon swatch that was designed to open up the Speedmaster to the masses. This is not opening up the Formula One to the masses, because the Formula One line, it is what it is. That's what the Formula One line is supposed to do. That is the entry level watch. This is the little gotcha for the Formula One collector.
No.
As a Formula One, as a former Formula One collector, this just doesn't do it for me. And I've had conversations with other people who have said they lost me on this one.
It's not for you. It's not for you. And I'm also willing to bet.
I was just going to bring this up.
I'm also willing to bet that there will be a non-Kith version of this later.
So you think that there's going to be an actual Tag Heuer signed Formula One?
Possibly. I don't see
Gen 1 Formula One reissue.
I don't see that you do the development of this kind of watch. You do the development of the case. You do all the tooling for it, and then you just let it go. Particularly when you have the community that's been asking for it so vehemently for so long. I see that coming back as part of the, maybe not in all the iterations, not in all the colorways, but something for sure.
I don't think it will be stamped Tag Heuer. If they're going to do more of them, they will find another way to collaborate with another brand for it, because they've already started that now. They should have done a Tag Heuer branded version first, and then if you want to open it up to collaborations, fine. But I feel like they went about this process backwards. And because of that, I don't think that there's going to be a Tag Heuer branded Generation 1 reissue.
I don't know. We're talking about it. It's real popular in the watch space. It's gonna be one of those watches. It's gonna be an it watch.
But here's the thing, and like you just said a little bit ago, it's designed to make you want to go buy a vintage one, which doesn't benefit Tag Heuer in any way.
It's designed to make you go buy a vintage one. It's not designed to make any Instagram influencer anything other than that watch. Because it's something that they know, it's something that they like.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess time will tell.
Certainly will.
I mixed feelings about it. I'm glad they did it. I think it looks fantastic. I think they did a great job with them. If it just did not say Kith above the Heuer, and that what's the weird inscription on the 6 o'clock? The just us, or just the two of us, or something like that.
Just us, or whatever it is. But that's Kith. That's Kith's tagline.
Is it?
Tagline.
I don't even know what it means. It makes no sense to me.
It's not for you.
It is for me. No. That watch was meant for me. I am the market for that watch, and they blew it.
No, you are the wrong. You are literally the wrong guy.
I am. Okay.
Literally.
I am not the wrong guy, because
you are totally the wrong guy. for that watch.
Because I have the Caravelle version of that watch. I am the guy.
No, but you have the Caravelle version of that watch. You don't have the tag version of that watch because you got rid of it. You are this is not for you. This is not your watch. You are not involved. They do not want you. You are not. No, you're nowhere close to that. So step away from the Kith.
Okay, gladly.
Gladly.
I tell you what, when I turn a profit on this watch that I just bought, I'll go out and buy an original 35 millimeter Formula One.
You go right ahead.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. All right, Joe. I think it's time that we stop the torture for all the viewers and listeners.
So how do they get in touch with us, Mike?
This afternoon, we are the Spring Bar Podcast. You can find us on Instagram at the Spring Bar Podcast. You can email us, thespringbarpodcast@gmail.com. On a personal level, I am 120 clicks, all spelled out, one long word, 120 clicks. Joe.
Watch Taylor Youth, all one word. Although apparently there is a guy in Australia who is Watch Taylor. So it might be time for a name change.
You know, I've thought about that, but I feel like too many people know me as who I am, and if I were to change it, it probably wouldn't work out the way that I'd want it to.
Nobody knows who I am, so it's fine.
Well, be that as it may.
Well,
no, because then I have to design a whole new logo for you.
No, it'll be the same one.
Okay.
It'll be the same. I got no problem.
Should we take audience suggestions of what your new Instagram handle should be?
There you go. That's fantastic. That's an excellent take.
So, in the YouTube comments or on our Instagram page, comment what Joe's new watch page Instagram handle should be. At what?
This is fun. This will be great.
We'll see.
We'll
see how many people actually play along.
I make no commitment to the winner.
Oh, you got to now. Oh, goodness.
Bodie McBoatface. This is going to be great.
Bodie McBoatface. Oh, goodness. All right. Well, I guess on that note, until you all decide what Joe's new watch handle should be, cheers.
Cheers.